Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. Make sure that you subscribe below and click the bell so that you never miss out on our daily content celebrating the best of the rock and roll era, the best era that there was. Also, check us out on Patreon for more content. The great Charley Pride passed away recently, leaving one of the most incredible legacies for us to cherish. He was, of course, the first black superstar of country and western music, but Charley's impact goes well beyond skin color. Without the legends from the golden era of country music, there wouldn't be a Garth Brooks or a George Strait, a Reba McIntyre, Tim McGraw, or even a Taylor Swift. Without the trailblazers, Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, George Jones, Loretta Lynn, Merle Haggard, Dolly Parton, or the indomitable Charley Pride, the world would have been denied the classic artistry that has inspired and paved the way for contemporary superstars. Charley had an incredible career that transcended genre, stereotypes, and race. There is no doubt that the good Lord above put Charley on this earth to break down barriers and enrich the human experience with his soulful Southern baritone. Charley was the fourth of 11 children born to sharecroppers in rural Mississippi, ascending from the cotton fields to professional baseball diamonds and to the Hall of Fame. He brought us immeasurable joy that will last an eternity. He had a rare gift for telling a story and interpretation. If you asked him, he would, of course, downplay his accolades with an aw shucks humility. That was Charley to the T. But Charley Pride was one of the most successful artists to ever stand in front of a microphone.
You've got to kiss an angel good morning.
Racking up an astonishing 52 top 10 hits on the Billboard Country Chart from 1966 to 1987, reaching the top of the chart 29 times. Yeah, 29 times. Charley even sold more units for RCA Records than the king himself, Elvis Presley. One of the most humble and genuine stars that epitomizes class, dignity, and honor. Many of his peers referred to Charley as the true gentleman of country. I am so proud to have had nearly 2 hours with Charley while he was on one of his last national tours. And here are some excerpts from that special session that just puts a lump in my throat, a tear in my eye, but a flutter in my heart. I hope you'll spend the time to watch these moments with Charley and keep a prayer in your heart for his family. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Charley Pride. I want to go back to the very beginning and ask you, what was it for you, whether it was a song that you heard or someone in your life that kicked open the door to your mind and made you want to pursue music? Do you remember, especially since you were such a wonderful athlete, what was the moment that made you want to do what you do?
Well, it was 8 boys and 3 girls in our family. We all sang, but my dad bought an old Philco radio, and nobody bothered with the knobs but him. Nobody went over and bothered the radio but him. And we grew up listening to the Grand Ole Opry and coming out of the fields working and all. And so I just got hooked on the music, and not realizing I'd be talking to you about it now at this juncture of my life. But I just loved the music, and I bought me a Sears Roebuck guitar when I was about 14 years old. And I didn't know how to tune it. We lived out in the country. And what I did was out in the wagon. We was outside when we got it, and I left it out in the rain overnight. And I never could keep it in tune. But I kept squeezing it and learned enough on it. But I didn't know how to tune it. So I went to the radio, and I don't know whether it was Ernest Tubb or who, but
Eddie Arnold.
I don't know, but it was at the ending of the song. It said dong 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 ding, dong 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 ding. So I just dong 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 ding, and that's the way I tuned it straight across. And I played bar chords like that until I started recording. I didn't start playing it the conventional way until then, till I went to Nashville. So I don't have no outstanding thing to tell you other than I was blessed with a good voice and ending up with country music. That's just the way it happened. I mean, I think some of your, what you were reading there a moment ago was I think a lot had to do with it. You mentioned God. God put me here to do certain things, and I do believe that that's a part of way life is. I mean, I always believe that you just wasn't put here just to get up, eat, and sleep, and get down and lay down, and eat, get up, eat, and sleep. So must be something else, you know, that was always my feeling. And so I felt that because I was going to be the greatest baseball player, that's where I was going to make my mark in baseball. So I was going to go to the major leagues and break all the records and set new ones by the time I was 35 or 36. Then I would sing. That's where I had it all planned, but it didn't work that way. So, but
God had a different plan.
Yeah. In fact, the guy the man that my dad, we finally got a chance to rent some land instead of working sharecropping. His name was Mr. Allen Putnam, and I found out why he called me this. He said he could pick my voice out from any of all the brothers and sisters. We were about maybe a half mile apart in the country outside. So he said he could pick me out from all the rest of my brothers, and I won a lot of contests imitating anything I could hear. I mean, I could imitate any voice or any sound that I heard. Like geese going flying south, and chickens and hogs, and he called me Old Mockingbird, and I kept going up back and forth in baseball, and he finally said to me, he said, "Have you ever thought, no matter how much you love baseball and you want to play baseball, that you're not on this planet to play baseball, you're on this planet to sing?" And he said that to me, and I could circle the bases in 14 or 15 seconds. I wasn't no blazing speed, but I could, I played outfield. I wasn't no Willie Mays, but I could hit, and the guy that I made my marker, Adam, the guy that I was going to do this on, he had 714 home runs by the name of Babe Ruth. And so my thing was, when I saw Jackie Robinson go to the major leagues, I said, I was picking cotton beside my dad. I said, here's my way out of the cotton field. So I was planning on going. So who hit the most home run? Not Babe Ruth, Charley Pride. Who was the last 400 hitter? Not Ted Williams, Charley Pride. That was what because I do believe that every kid, maybe not every kid, but this kid wanted to be something. I mean, it must be something out there and so that's what I picked that I wanted to make my mark in. I tell people that I'm in the business of selling lyrics, feelings, and emotions.
That's right.
Lyrics, feelings, and emotions. I cannot do any better, explaining it any better than that. And that's what I try to do, and I've been trying to do it all these years.
Well, in your early career, I mean, you had so many songs before you had your first #1 hit. You had a ton going to #3, #2, #4. My Ring Hurt Your Finger, The Day the World Stood Still, Let the Chips Fall. I want to ask you about your cover of Hank Williams' classic, Kalijah. That song was covered by many notable artists, and I believe that you have the definitive version. There's a lot of emotion coming out there, howls and yodels and sustained things that you do there. And yeah, exactly. And it's so unique. Where did that come from?
Well, actually, if you listen to it, I put words where they wasn't supposed to be. And I said that before I got ready to do the song, that I might put a verse where it don't belong, but I'm going to do it the way I learned it when I was growing up, and that's the way I did it.
When the San Antonio or Phoenix, Arizona.
San Antonio, I always put what I would do with my music. When I get it ready, I get all my songs. I still do that, really. And I live with them.
You want to spend as much time with them before you record?
Well, I don't want to just go in and just see the way I want to do them at all, just in the spur of the moment. Because I've heard some dubs that I didn't even know how am I going to do this one now? Jack Johnson.
Yep.
He said, Charlie, he says, there's two guys out here that just wrote a song.
Glenn Martin and Dave Kirby.
Dave Kirby and Glenn Martin. I said, Jack, I got all my songs ready to go and everything. He said, yeah, but go take a listen to it. So I go out there and I listen. About 15, 20 minutes, rain dripping off the, came back in, and what you're hearing that's where it came out. 15, 20, at the most, 20 minutes. I never heard the song before. Boom, I cut it. Now, that kind of threw all of my sitting around working on them for the whole month and going to say I praise him. I guess that threw all that
out the window.
Out the window at Strait, the way it came out, was one of my signature songs. Okay, but here's the key. I go home, and the wife and I are sitting there. We're watching Johnny Carson. Bake Turner is on Johnny Carson.
New York Jet.
He caught all those passes from Joe Namath, him, and I think he lives in El Paso. But anyway, I said, oh my goodness, good friend of mine too. I said, oh, he's gonna see him. Why am I here covering him with that song?
Because he sang it on Johnny Carson.
He did it on Johnny Carson.
He sang San Antonio.
I said, honey, they said they'd just written the song.
They're gonna give it to you.
And so, but I met him after since then. He says, it's just one of those things. He never.
When he put it out, he hurried and put it out.
Is anybody going to San Antonio?
Yours came out, his didn't chart at all, and yours went to #1.
I just remember that I was hoping he wouldn't be so angry with me for covering him,
And that's such a great vocal too, because I love when you sang San Antonio and then you sang for Phoenix, Arizona. I love how you go up there because anybody would expect on a country song, they usually just San Antonio, Phoenix, Arizona.
You want me to tell you what was supposed to have been there instead of Arizona?
What?
Fargo, North Dakota. That was the way the song was written.
Really?
Yeah. Fargo, North Dakota.
Who changed that? Did you change it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I give you another one I changed.
Okay.
I wonder, could I live there anymore? Have you ever been awake about a crowing of a rooster while an ice dew still is on the ground? And then, so when I get through the song, I'm going to do it tonight because every time I said, ladies and gentlemen, they still love it. I said, that's really not the title of that first title of that song. I said, the real title of that song is that I wouldn't want to live there anymore. I said, now I'm from a little town below Memphis called Sledge, Mississippi, and my career started and I moved up the charts. And I said, I didn't want to go back home and somebody walk up to me, oh, you're getting high on the hog now. You wouldn't want to live anymore.
Yeah, because that song is kind of a contemplation of being back on the family farm and the mom and dad are locked in the daily routine. It's a real kind of down-home song.
Lyrics and feelings and emotion. Yeah.